Hey, welcome everybody. Mr. On Demand, man with the master plan, back again with another great tech video. Going to talk a little bit about Microsoft and what's going on with Windows 10. That's just a big news thing for everybody in the tech industry right now, wanting to know, what do I do when Windows 10 support runs out? Is my Windows 10 computer going to stop working? Are things going to get iffy? My security is not going to be good anymore. Well, your Windows 10 computer will not just stop working. Let me rest your problems there. There are going to be a lot of options for you available, and I'm going to go over some of those with you on this channel. So if you want to know about some of those options you can do, definitely subscribe and look for my future videos to let you know what's going to be your best option going forward. There's a lot of them, like switching to an LTSC version of Windows, finding a good Windows technician that's going to be able to upgrade your machine to Windows 11 without worrying about those pesky needs of the TPM module and a Microsoft account. And I'm going to go over some details what you can do to get around that as well on this channel. But let's talk about this for a minute, because if Microsoft would just make Windows 11 really good, or put out a Windows 12 that's really good, they wouldn't have a problem with people not switching. Part of the problem why people aren't switching from Windows 10 is because they've made it so people can't. The TPM requirement and the Microsoft account requirement and the sheer stupidity of Microsoft is actually ruining them getting people to switch to Windows 11. Absolutely 100%. And there are options for you out there without having for you to be able to use your old PC still, but that becomes a pain in the butt, especially when you can get a lot of inexpensive PCs out there. And that's what I see a lot of my clients doing. They're just buying a newer PC because they know that Windows 10 is going out and they need a Windows 11 machine. And so they just buy a new machine and they expect me to they pay me to transfer over all of their data and everything. And a lot of times the new machine isn't really a whole lot faster or better than the old machine they had, but yet they had to get a new version of Windows. And this is a bad thing because it's going to create a lot of e-waste, I think. But let's see what this says. Windows 10 is about to expire. In less than 6 months, Microsoft's most successful operating system release ever will reach its end of support date. Monty Python from Norwegian Blue. It will be pushing up the daisies. It will have shuffled off its mortal coil, run down the curtain, and joined the bleeding choir invisible. Wow, what a vision that puts. How is this even possible? It feels like only yesterday, but in fact, Windows 10 was officially released to the public nearly a decade ago in July 2015. Following on the heels of the ill-fated Windows 8, it became an unqualified success among consumers and business customers alike. And it's continued to be insanely popular more than 3 years after the release of its successor, Windows 11. That's good news, right? Well, not exactly. Microsoft has a big challenge on its hands, and in the run-up to the end of support date, convincing its enormous installed base to leave their beloved Windows 10 behind and make the move to its successor, Windows 11, to complicate things, they've departed radically from the normal upgrade rules. I wrote the original version of this post in July 2023 when the end date was more than 2 years in the future, and I've been revisiting the topic regularly to help answer some burning questions. When does Windows 10 support end? Like every version of Windows in the modern era, Windows 10 adheres to a 10-year support lifecycle. That means most Windows 10 editions, Home, Pro, Workstation, Enterprise, and Education, will reach their end of support date on October 14, 2025. For the nerdy details on how that date is calculated, when will Microsoft end support for your version of Windows or Office? So what happens when that date arrives? Nothing. Seriously, absolutely nothing happens. PCs running Windows 10 will continue to work as they always have and will do so indefinitely. Windows 10 PC can't be upgraded. You have 5 options and 6 months to take action. It's an article they put there. You don't really have to take any action. You could just continue using your Windows PC. if you're not getting security updates anymore, you could always purchase a security software suite to keep yourself secure. So that's an option you have, everybody. From that date forward, however, those PCs will no longer receive security fixes through Microsoft Windows Update unless their owners pay Microsoft for an extended security update ESU subscription on Windows 10 PCs. Without an ESU subscription, any security flaws found from that day forward will remain unpatched, making those PCs increasingly vulnerable to online attacks. There is at least one exception to this cutoff date, which applies to PCs running Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC, Long-Term Edition. In all, Microsoft has released 4 of these editions. The 2015 long-term servicing branch ends on October 14, 2025, along with the editions described earlier. The 2016 ends support a year later on October 13, 2026. Beginning in 2019, the name changed to Long-Term Servicing Channel, LTSC, for Windows 10 Enterprise. The end date is January 9th, 2029. So if you're running Windows 10 Enterprise 2019, the end date is January 9th, 2029. Who runs these versions of Windows 10, though? And did you know that there's a version of Windows 11 of that type for Windows 11 as well? People who run those versions are generally corporations who buy a large license for the corporation or the company. You can try to get a license for this version from the company you work for if you're able to. There are places online you can purchase numbers for this, and so if you do a search in Google, you will find information about this. So there are ways around that. And then you could change your Windows 10 to an enterprise version, and you could be good with security updates till 2029. You won't get any feature updates, but a lot of people don't really care about feature updates anymore these days. But during that time, there may be software and programs that decide to end support for Windows 10 as well. Even if Windows 10 Enterprise Edition is still getting updates, some certain software programs and some games or some things might say, hey, we're not going to work with Windows 10 anymore. This is what happened with me with Windows 7 and why I finally switched to Windows 10, even though I ran Windows 7 long after they cut off the support for it. And one of the reasons why is I was running Windows 7 Ultimate. It had a Media Center edition. Microsoft took away a lot of those features, and I wanted the Media Center. I still wanted to run that, and had to switch, though, eventually. Confusingly, Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC 2021 has only a 5-year support lifecycle, which means it ends support on January 12, 2027. Crazy, right? If you run the 2019 one, you're going to get security updates till 2029. But the 2021 one only goes till 2027. Wouldn't be surprised if they extend this one, if they change their mind on that. Microsoft has been known to do things like that. How many PCs are running Windows 10 today? If anyone tells you they know the answer to this one, stop listening to them. Microsoft can probably make a solid estimate based on its telemetry, but the rest of us are focused to guess based on fragmentary third-party metrics. One of the sources I have relied on over the years in the U.S. government digital analytic program, which has a well-organized repository of information about traffic to official websites ran by agencies like Postal Services, National Institutes of Health, and the National Weather Service, the IRS, and NASA. I've been checking that source regularly over the past few years. When I visited DAP at the beginning of 2025, I retrieved 90 days worth of data covering billions of visits to those websites from people using Windows computers, Macs, mobile devices from all around the world. Here's what the data told me when I filtered it to show only visits from PCs running Windows 10 and 11. Windows 11, A nice jump from August 2024 to April 25, right? 41% to 54%, 58% to 45%. So people have been upgrading. People have been upgrading, but not nearly as much. They would hope this 45% number would be way lower by now. Windows 11 has steadily overtaken Windows 10 in visits to US government websites as the deadline approaches. That's a big improvement over the 8-month period last August. Visits from PC. Windows 10 significantly outpaced those from Windows 11. But if you extrapolate those numbers to the worldwide population of Windows PCs, you can see the problem. Over the past 8 months, about 1.6% of Windows 10 PCs have been replaced by Windows 11 PCs each month. At that pace, about 35% of those 1.4 billion devices will still be running Windows 10 when October 2025 rolls around. Some of those will be my PCs that will still be running Windows 10 that are running LTSC versions. Many of them have no supported upgrade path. And the reason is because Microsoft made it so you have no upgrade path. You have to buy a new PC. TPM module and Microsoft account requirements are stupid in my opinion, and I think they should be absolutely abolished by Microsoft. It's not a good way to go. There's a bunch, and I mean a whole bunch of these PCs that are fully capable of running Windows 11 without a problem. Most of them. Windows 10 PC can't be upgraded. You have 5 options and 6 months to take action. Article there for you guys. For people who are concerned about the security of the internet at large, well, let's call it unnerving. Another widely used measure of web traffic, StatCounter, offers its own estimate of traffic from PCs running Microsoft Windows. If you believe their charts, about 54% of PCs worldwide are still running Windows 10 as of April 2025. That's a lot. 54%. Wow. Now, I have my issues with StatCounter's metrics. I think StatCounter's numbers probably overcount the number of Windows 10 PCs, but they do confirm the general conclusion that there will be a large number of unsupported PCs at the end of 2025. This is the reason why I think software companies will tend to still support Windows 10 when it comes to gaming and everything else for a good chunk of time. I think you're probably still going to be able to use your Windows 10 machine even if you're not running an LTSC version and getting security updates from Microsoft. Just run some aftermarket security software, pay a small amount for a 1-year subscription to some kind of antivirus, firewall, whatever protection software you want to run on your computer. This isn't a video to tell you what one of those you should run. That would be a whole different subject to talk about. But this is a subject about everybody who's in that situation, and I think we probably all either have a machine in that situation or we know somebody who's in that situation where they have to decide, well, you know what, my machine's not going to be supported anymore. And Microsoft's using a little bit of scare tactics in this situation as well to try to push people into Windows 11. And I don't really care for that, especially with how long Windows 11's been out. And I think we're probably going to be seeing a new version of Windows out in the very near future. I can't say that for sure, but I'm hoping that it's something much, much better than what we currently have today. Because Windows 11, even though they're talking about how successful it's been, I have not been a huge... I mean, even though they're talking about how successful Windows 10 has been, and they're trying to push us to Windows 11, I haven't really been a fan of either one, to be perfectly honest about it. But I can tell you that some of these requirements are ludicrous. I will not be running a retail version of Windows 11 for myself. I have ways of getting the LTSC from companies I work with, and I'll be using that on my personal machines. That's what I'll be using. And I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole that is the retail version with Microsoft's ludicrous requirements. Microsoft needs to make it easier for people, not harder. if they want to continue to keep their customers, because there's a lot of people wanting to switch to Linux. And with Windows 11 and the requirements that it has, the cry for that has been louder than ever before. And if you are one of those people switching to Linux, let me know down below, because that is an option for you on an older computer. If you want it to, if you want to still be able to use it, you could switch to a Linux distro, and that is an option. I'm not completely against Linux per se. I just think Windows is your more easier option when it comes to compatibility overall. You can find ways to do most of what you want to do in Linux, though. So everybody just, I think everybody should just like slow down, calm down. Don't try to rush into a new machine just because Windows 10 is going out of date. I guess the real message here is your computer will not stop working. Your Windows 10 computer will still function even after the support has ended from Windows 10. Your best bet is to go ahead and just continue to use that computer with the Windows 10 that's on it for a while you go ahead and keep your eyes open at all the options and what's happening in the industry. So that being said, everybody, if this was a informative video, if this helped you out at all, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, let me know down below as well. And you know what? I'll see you guys in the next video, and you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye for now.